control deck.
Yeah.
He has Life from the Loam and Wasteland in his deck. He also has 5 Planeswalker, 3 Jace Mind Sculptor, and 6.
Yes.
3 Liliana of the Veil. So Liliana of the Veil and Life from the Loam are an excellent combo.
I think against his version of Bug Delver, that Liliana the Veil can do some work.
Scott is actually playing Bug Delver. He has quite a few creatures, however. He's going a little bit up the curve. He has a Snapcaster Mage. But he also has 2 copies of Deathrite Shaman. So we have
6 Deathrite Shamans available. Actually, and he has 1 on the sideboard even.
Yeah,
so
7.
7.
Scott, I know we've talked about Braun Duin quite a bit. He does a video series with Todd Anderson on the free side for Star City Games. Scott Ruggiero is a Dayton player. I actually frequently play Friday Night Magic with him up at Epic Loot Cards and Games. Epic Loot Comics, yeah, something like that. But he's an excellent player. He comes to quite a few of these. I traveled with him earlier this year to St. Louis, and he's usually he's been on the Merfolk bandwagon for a while.
Okay.
So it's good to see him play some Brainstorms.
Yeah. Well, he also has Dismember in the deck.
He's got 1 copy of Dismember, 2 copies of Ghastly Demise, 3 copies of Abrupt Decay. So that's quite a bit of removal. That's not going to be super exciting, although Abrupt Decay can get Brian's Lilianas. They don't have very many other targets.
No.
But those Deathrite Shamans are probably going to not be long for this world.
For you at home to be able to see, this is when I first saw Deathrite Shaman. This is what I pictured. I pictured some kind of bug deck, whether it was Control or Delver, just abusing this ability to be able to. I'll take the card from your knee that you need. You think of the ability from. Okay, so it looks like Brian's going to go down to 6. Scott will keep his original 7. I know they rolled to see who goes first. I did not see who won that roll. Bug Delver, Bug Control, Deathrite Shaman. And I've seen it on the SCG site, jump in price. And with the success of it this weekend, we could see it jump again potentially. I mean, I know I'm no speculator. I'm no Chaz Andrews that does the stuff on the premium side for Star City Games. But when you see a card come out there and do real good, that does. Okay.
Brian's on the play and mulliganing. I believe Scott has kept his hand because he is not shuffling. One thing I do like Scott's deck overall. I do think there's a lot to be said about adding the black cards that from Return to Ravnica that are impressive, both Deathrite Shaman and Abrupt Decay.
Yes.
The one thing I don't like about it is that these Delver decks in Legacy typically have not been able to play Snapcaster Mage effectively because of their low land counts, but you do see 2 copies here, and you do see a lot of creatures. So the extra land, Scott's playing 19 lands. There's only 26 spells instead of a lot of Rogue Delver decks play upwards of closer to 30.
30, yeah. I think 30 is that right number, right in that ballpark of where we've seen before, yeah.
So Scott's creature base is 4 Delver, 4 Tarmogoyf, 3 Confidant, 2 Deathrite Shaman, and 2 Snapcaster Mage.
Okay, both of them land go.
So yeah. It looks like Scott has a Ponder, a Force of Will, a Stifle,
A Wasteland.
And a Wasteland. And it looks like it's 2 copies of Tarmogoyf. And Polluted Delta as well. So we're going to play Ponder.
And probably play the Polluted Delta to get that in the graveyard to make his Tarmogoyf a little bigger.
Alright, so Scott actually wants to draw the extra land. So he might have a different philosophy playing this Bug Delver deck than Rug Delver deck. Rug Delver decks want to play 2 lands the entire game, and then they're done. Right. Whereas Scott seems like, by the fact that he wanted the second Underground Sea, that's what he drew off the Ponder. seems like he's willing to play a few extra lands to get to develop his game a little more. So,
I believe that was a Inquisitor Kozlak?
Thoughtseize.
Or Thoughtseize. Apologize, the light on it kind of gets it off there for me. In response, Brainstorm by Braun Duin. He's going to put the cards he wants away to make sure that he gets minimal or no targets, if at all, from it. Okay?
So we see Engineered Explosives, a Verdant Catacombs, a Snapcaster Mage, a Jace the Mind Sculptor, and an Underground Sea. Given that Brian's best cards are probably on top of his deck, that means his hand was quite excellent.
So which one?
You either take the Snapcaster Mage or the Jace.
It's hard to not pass taking Jace. Just in general. I mean, if you see it in someone's deck.
This isn't standard. It's not the best card ever printed because 4 mana is a lot. When other people have 4 mana cards, they say win the game on them.
Yes.
Jace is the only value card really that's playable in Legacy that does not win the game.
Okay. We have a fetch land by
Brian
DVD.
has a Brainstorm from his Thoughtseize, which is an excellent play, especially after Scott takes the Snapcaster Mage.
Right, there's the Polluted Delta, which he'll crack.
Looks like we're going to see a Tarmogoyf from Scott.
Alrighty here, as we see him shuffle up. Setting up, oh, he dropped a card on the ground there. Checking to see if it was more than one. Alright, we see a Brainstorm, oh, we know we had Brainstorm, Engineer Explosives.
Tarmogoyf for Scott.
Yeah.
And maybe a Ponder, but maybe not. Maybe Scott does not have an additional blue card. I know he has a Force of Will that he really wants to keep.
Yeah, and that Wasteland, which is going to help.
I guess he needed the green mana to cast the Tarmogoyf. Other than that, if Scott had another Underground Sea, a Trop this turn, but he had 2 Underground Seas. If he had a green mana last turn, I would have liked to see him Wasteland this turn. Would have been a good tempo play for him because he has the card on the board.
Yeah.
But
okay, he also has a Polluted Delta on the board.
It looks like a Dismember for Scott. I did see a Phyrexian mana symbol.
Oh, you did? Okay, yeah, well, we see the Ponder, we see the Force of Will from Scott.
Yeah, so the Hidden Brainstorm. So it's nice. I like Brian's play. It turned out to be a great Brainstorm. In fact, it was a pretty bad Brainstorm. But he decided to put a card he did not want back. 2 from the top, and then a Brainstorm on top. When he brainstormed in response to Scott's Thoughtseize last turn. Right. That's a cool thing about Legacy is a lot of times players will make a play. You can't really evaluate them until a couple turns later, until you see the entire contents of their basically their full line of play.
All right, he obviously
really cool thing about Legacy. So
yeah,
we're gonna complete the dual land family, I guess.
Well, he didn't like what was on the Brainstorm, so he gets to shuffle it away. Using
he drew two additional lands and an Engineered Explosives from his.
I believe he already has. Oh, there's Liliana.
Yep. One of the lands was this Mistress Factory. It's going to hit play. So looks like Brian's going to pay 2 mana, 2 colored mana, different colors, to cast an Explosives for 2, and then
Click Scott as a Stifle.
Yeah, so that can stifle the force it, or not to burn it right away.
Okay, Wasteland.
He's going to get a mana for free.
Which is good because that takes him off the 2 black, or off of black, the 2 black to be able to cast the Liliana. Stifle.
Alright, so Stifle,
Explosive.
and we need the Tarmogoyf die stat. They're over there.
Well, he's going to give it to us right there. 5,
That's a 5/6. That is not small.
Alright, Ponder. Land. Something real quick. Could not see it.
Yeah. Scott could actually use a brainstorm. His dismember is very poor right now, so
Believe that could be another Wasteland
yes. The Tarmo die making its first appearance here on Star City Live this weekend.
there. Now, it only took to round 4 of Legacy for us to see it out there.
We're not going to see it in Standard.
I know we're not. I know we're not. But speaking of seeing Tarmogoyf again,
Oh yeah.
that big announcement this weekend.
Well,
We'll talk more about that later on,
when
but
we don't have a riveting match.
yes,
between 2 excellent players.
but just the Tarmogoyf rang a bell in my head with that one. Okay, so he will pass back after hitting with that 5/6.
So I'm not sure what Brian has shuffled back with his previous brainstorm, but if there's a second copy of Engineered Explosives, that would be okay here. Not great because Scott has a second Stifle. The other thing Brian could okay, Deathrite Shaman come in play.
That might. Oh, he's gonna let
First,
that go.
that gives that would actually really lower the Tarmogoyf's power quite a bit. I could remove the Snapcaster Mage, which is the only creature currently. But I believe you might see Dark Confidant.
Oh, good old Bob come out.
Nope,
No?
just Dismember.
All right. Well,
Scott pays 4 life for the ability to kill basically anything for 1 mana.
you know, and he's not really worried about the life total right now with the fact he's starting with the 5/6 and putting Bob out there. For those of you that don't know, that's Dark Confidant, Bob Maher, what the art was made after. That's his promo card that he got.
Wizards used to host a series of all-star games, basically. They're called Invitationals.
Yes.
Now Star City runs the Invitationals, but the Wizards Invitational is far different. There are only 16 players, and the winner of that tournament got to make their own card. And you could see Bob Maher's mug on the Dark Confidant.
One of my greatest lines ever.
Yeah.
Greatness at any cost.
Excellent flavor text. Bob Maher is referred to as the Great One.
Yes.
He's probably one of the best players of all time, and definitely deserves to have his invitational card at the top of the heap.
He is going to play Engineer Explosives, which can be met with a Stifle when he decides to activate it.
The problem is Scott doesn't have a land right now.
No.
So he has to think about Force of Willing it.
Okay.
And he's going to Force of Will. He's going to pitch the Stifle. Basically, if Brian has an extra mana, he would just do it right then and there. But it looks like this game. Whoa. Yeah, we can definitely.
And it was the Force of Will.
We can definitely verify that. So
he takes 5 off that to 8.
Yep. So Brian's going to fall to 1.
And for those of you that did not get to read the card a minute ago, he has to flip over the top card that he draws and pay a penalty of life equal to the casting cost of that card. And with the Force of Will being 3 blue, he had to pay a total of 5 life, taking him down to 7. Abrupt Decay.
Abrupt Decay from
That's
he
it.
should end this match. And Scott takes down game 1.
Yes. But let's go here to the sideboards here a little bit.
Okay.
Brian has 2 Scavenging Oozes, 1 Diabolic Edict, 1 Nile Spellbomb, 2 Spell Pierce, 1 more Thought Seize to go with the one in his hand, 2 Damnations, 2 Verdilian Click to go with the 1 that he has in his main, and 4 Tarmogoyf.
So he's definitely on the control route. He definitely knows that sometimes he wants to switch roles. That's why the clicks and the Tarmogoyfs are there to basically turn him into this tempo deck when he wants to take out his Life from the Loams, his Lilianas, his Explosive, some of his slower cards, and he wants to be more of an aggressor. But I think Brian actually wants to play the control route in this game. Life from the Loam can be a very crippling card. And he definitely wants as much removal as he can get his hands on. Considering he doesn't have a ton, he has 2 Abrupt Decay, and 1 Ghastly Demise, 1 Dark Blast, and 3 Engineered Explosives. The Ghastly Demise not the greatest card in the world, but if I was BBD, I would.
You'd stay with this what he has and pretty much run with it, go from there. Okay, what about Scott?
Scott has a bunch of. He has 10 different singleton cards. The cards he has the most. He has 3 Spell Pierce and 2 Surgical Extraction. Everything else is basically a one-off. Some of them are cards that we see in the main deck, like there's the 4th Force of Will, the 3rd Deathrite Shaman, the 3rd Ghastly Demise. There's an additional Thoughtseize in his board as well. And basically, Scott's going to look through his deck. What kind of cards does he want for a mirror match? And then he's going to take out some of his weaker cards. In this case, I think the Dismember, both Ghastly Demises, and maybe he might keep in Abrupt Decay, just as the catch-all. There's not going to be removal spells outside of Abrupt Decay that are any good for Scott.
Well, and Scott played the Abrupt Decay to get rid of the Deathrite Shaman, and I mean, if anything, it costs 2, but it's a very good removal against that Deathrite Shaman, which can do some things to Scott's deck.
And it's always going to work. So he also has to decide what kind of creatures he wants. I think Scott doesn't have the Life from the Loam Liliana endgame that Brian has, so he's going to be forced to take the role that he was successful in taking game 1, which is to get the creature in play and use discard to protect it, and kind of circumvent Brian's creature removal or his endgame, and just take him out, strip him creature removal, circumvent. Don't let Brian get a foot in the game. Brian had a Jace, but never an opportunity to cast it.
No. All right. This is round 4 of 8 in Legacy. We're seeing Braun Duin playing Bug Control, down 1 game to nothing to Scott Ruggiero playing Bug Delver. Slight differences, like we talked about a little earlier. Bringing the Jaces and bringing the Lilianas to the table. Kind of spicy to see those in in Bug.
Yeah, Brian has the end game locked up.
Yeah.
So Scott's definitely going to, but then again, like Scott, as you saw in game 1, I actually like Scott's position in this matchup, where he has the ability to take Brian off of his end game. He has Stifles and Dazes to keep Brian off mana. However, Brian has quite a bit of mana, so it's got to be a tempo attack from Scott. It can't just be a long. Scott's going to need to play an early Delver, Confidant, Tarmogoyf, something like that, so that he can.
Like he did last time, it worked it to a nice 5/6. All right.
He's not going to have too much opportunity to just sit there and do nothing. So, Delver Secrets from Scott, and looks like Scott decided to bring in a Spell Pierce to further protect his creatures.
Okay, I think we see an Abrupt Decay in his hand also, along with, I believe, 2 more lands.
There's a Brainstorm, looks like an Explosives.
Polluted Delta maybe there. Oh, there's a Misty Rainforest.
Yeah, try and flip.
No.
Fails. But he is rewarded with a second copy of Delver Secrets, so nice draw for him. I'd much rather not flip my Delver and draw a second copy.
Yeah, so you can flip it next time
right
and
here.
swing in for 6. All right, there's the
One
polluted
cool
delta.
thing Scott's going to be able to do, assuming he's going to brainstorm first. One cool thing he could have done is use his fetch lands to increase the likelihood of Delvers flipping.
Okay.
Although the other thing he could have also done is play brainstorm to make sure they flipped.
What he does have also is he has a third Delver Secrets in his hand.
And just the second one still. The second one.
Oh, the second one. Oh, the second one's not played. I thought it was the third one. I thought he played it already. He will be playing that.
He may choose not to. He's seen engineered explosives. He has Spell Pierce in hand. Might be worthwhile for him to wait, and that's what Scott's going to do. Meanwhile, and I do believe Brian would have had the explosives to punish that play.
All right.
Had he played the second one. So, good play by Scott. But letting Brian develop is also not a fantastic idea, but I actually would have Spell Pierce that Brainstorm. This is the ideal Brainstorm. You have Brainstorm with the fetch and play. Your hand's still kind of shaky, it's not perfect. Well, Brian thinks it is because he untapped, drew a card without cracking his fetch land. So Brian must like his like his hand.
All
And
right.
Scott is 100% cracking his fetch land. He has so many extra lands on top of his deck.
Yeah.
It is not in the market to draw additional lands.
But that did seem like a missed opportunity there. Like you said, to stop that brainstorm. I mean, I don't know many people that won't say that brainstorm is one of the best Magic cards ever made, and to have the opportunity to thwart it at all is really, really critical.
Well, one of the reasons it's so good is that it's so cheap and easy to cast. And it's like very versatile on like when you can get your brainstorm effect, and
Well, you'll see it a lot
so
here,
very difficult to counter.
where they'll do Thoughtseize, and in response, I'll do Brainstorm. Make sure you don't get anything that's relevant. Throw them on top. I'll get them right back to set things up, or to set up a Delver or something like that to flip. Many ways to do this, to use Brainstorm. Just such a versatile card. One that if they ever made legal again would drive Magic players up a wall. All right, there is Wasteland.
Scott just wanted to crack his fetch, and I thought I was going to see a Stifle coming, but I was mistaken.
Nope, he's got a Spell Pierce. That's not going to help him here.
This actually sets up well mana ooh. We have a Life from the Loam from Braun. No basics in Scott's deck, but Scott is actually well set up to Brainstorm. We'll flip the Delver.
Okay.
And then Scott's going to have the opportunity to play a land, cast his second Delver of Secrets, and hold up a mana for Spell Pierce.
Okay, he's going to do the polluted Delta route. Probably Brainstorm.
Right.
Put the top 3, see what he's got.
What that does, Scott has the opportunity. He's going to play the second Delver.
Okay.
Or the Brainstorm first, and maybe not play that Delver at all. It does have the Dismember still in, and now it has a Stifle.
Okay, so
Dismember is definitely going back. That was the first card to go. Oh no! Imagine the Dismember should go back. He also has an Abrupt Decay, so one of those removal spells should go back. I believe he put Stifle, Dismember back.
yeah.
Which I like that. Those are probably the worst cards in his hand.
Okay.
So basically, Scott is playing around both the explosives and and leaving up his Spell Pierce mana. His fetch land is actually pretty good there. If he played the regular land, not only could he not shuffle away his Brainstorm, but Brian could Wasteland the Scott's land, and Scott would be unable to spell pierce this turn if he needed to.
Okay, there's the engineer explosives.
Yep.
There is no force of will in his hand, at least that we can see now.
No mana paid for the engineer explosive, but that will get any and all of the flip cards.
Yeah, that's a nice way to pay for engineer explosives. 0, take care of your 3/2 flyer. All right, and as we can see here that.
All right, so I believe if I'm Scott, I would stifle that, but he feels differently. Like Scott's really had this Delver in his hand and not really done anything with it. He's got a third copy of it. So what Scott can do now that he's flipped his first Delver, he can actually play a second Delver.
Yes.
And not get them both blown up by the same engineered explosives.
Okay, so he uses the stifle to get rid of the effect of the engineered explosives. Still having the polluted delta available for him if he wishes to crack that back.
Once again, Scott being very patient. I think he needs to be slightly more aggressive than he is right now. His hand's not fantastic, and it does have 3 creatures in it.
Okay, there's a Misty Rainforest. Another Brainstorm.
Brainstorm Central here today at the Legacy Open here in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Tarmogoyf yesterday, or not Tarmogoyf. Thrag Test yesterday. And Brainstorm today. Well, if you're watching a SCG tournament over the next few weeks, expect to see lots of both of those cards. Thragtusk, as my counterpart here, Adam Prozac, said, is possibly the best card in Standard. And obviously we know Brainstorm just simply does the job, period.
DVD trying to figure out what cards he wants to put back on top. Since he's a big meanie face,
we don't get to see what he has.
We don't get to see what he has.
Update from the floor. Chris Anderson is 3-0-1 after 4 rounds. More than likely at this rate, we will be seeing him on camera.
He's a good player. He's playing quite the deck. Not a deck I can quite grasp my head around, but playing blue-green Enchantress.
Well, we had an Enchantress deck last week. Do something, correct? Am I correct? No? Oh. Okay, maybe it was the week before. It was the week before.
It was Chris Anderson himself.
Oh, well, that would explain why.
Yeah, only he can do it. I think Chris Anderson is the type of person that is very good at Legacy and is often the only person in the deck playing, only person in the room playing whatever deck he's playing.
Well, it does give him quite a competitive advantage if he is the only one playing the deck.
Sometimes.
All right, well, it looks like Deathrite Shaman is going to resolve. They will both cut based on the polluted delta being cracked. All right. Down comes
a third land for Scott Ruggiero.
Yeah, that's I believe a Misty Rainforest. We are getting a little.
Cards are so shiny.
Yeah.
Scott Ruggiero has some very nice cards.
Well, legacy players typically have very, very nice cards.
I'd have liked to see a Tarmogoyf there. No surprise by Scott's lack of a second creature in play. So far, the Insectile Aberration is getting the job done, but
that
may not happen forever.
No, that'd be 3 a turn to the dome very slowly.
But Brian is at 8, and Scott definitely is going to have plenty of reserves for when Brian does get ahead.
Okay, there's a polluted delta on his side. Passes back. There's the Sylvan Library brought from the sideboard.
There's one copy of it.
Yeah, broke decay.
Yeah.
Cannot be countered.
So Scott's not even gonna try.
Yeah, destroy target with casting cost 3 or less. There's the Tarmogoyf.
Tarmogoyf. And one thing I do not like about Scott's game this guy, he's basically stone rained himself. He's always passed the turn with a mana open to make sure he can leave open for Spell Pierce. And even when Brian does cast a spell that is spell pierceable, he casts a Brainstorm.
Yeah.
Scott is opting not to spell pierce it.
Okay.
So the uncounterable abrupt decays clears Scott's board.
And he will loam.
Dredge life in the loam. So he's going to dredge away Polluted Delta, Spell Pierce, and Dark Blast, which can be quite powerful for the Delver Secrets that Scott has yet to play.
Okay, Wasteland, Polluted Delta. Yeah, Brian here can start knocking out some land and get something out there to control the board, hopefully.
So you see Brian's card advantage on it. He's been putting back lands quite a bit with his Brainstorms.
Yes.
So that he can properly, get them all back and basically make his Brainstorms even better than they already are.
Right, there's the Wasteland.
So he's gonna probably gotta work a little bit on.
Okay, Misty Cracks. You see Bob there at the bottom of his deck. All right, for those of you joining us, this is round 4, the first match we have on camera here. Braun Duin playing Bug Control against Scott Ruggiero playing Bug Delver. It's 1-0 in favor of Scott. We are at Star City Games Open in Indianapolis, Indiana. And right now we are seeing Braun Duin use Life Alone and Abrupt Decay to attempt to stabilize this board against Scott Ruggiero. And he's going to play another Delver. 2 Delvers.
So finally, once you see Brian, once he sees the game slipping away from him, this is the time when Scott finally decides to get aggressive, play out his Delvers. Might be good, but if he doesn't flip here, the Dark Blast is going to take care of both of them.
Okay,
It would be fantastic for Brian if he actually had a way to draw card. That way he could play Dark Blast, dredge Dark Blast, and cast Dark Blast again.
Liliana.
That being said, Brian's more interested in getting his Liliana online.
All right. That should be okay, the Deathrite Shaman.
It's potentially a pretty powerful card. You can use it to make a mana by exiling a land. Probably Brian's Wastelands.
Yeah, the last thing he wants is Brian to be able to use Life Alone to get the Wastelands back. Or any critical lands that he feels are important.
If he wants to deal Brian 2, he can remove a card like Life from the Loam.
Alright. There's the second Polluted Delta he got back from the graveyard from Life of the Loam. Snapcaster Mage.
So Had the Deathrite Shaman not been summoning sick, he could have removed the spell, so Brian needs to do this now.
So, it's going to let it resolve. Abrupt Decay.
Abrupt Decay is going to be flashbacked.
Just
and
scopes.
Scott's going to sees the writing on the wall, and goes on to game 3. That's a important aspect of Legacy. Knowing when you beat. A lot of these games sometimes take a while.
Yes.
Especially when the styles of decks are similar.
And in this thing, very easily people can get 2 ties, and that basically can kill them from making the top 8.
Mm-hmm. Even 1 is very bad.
Yeah.
Especially when this is when there's a lot of people for the number of rounds. 204 with 8 rounds is actually relatively close to 9 rounds.
Yes.
You need it's definitely well deep in 8 rounds. Sometimes 1 loss and 1 draw is not good enough.
No.
And especially if you pick up your draw early, so you want to try and avoid draws when you can.
Yeah. Absolutely. But as we see here, Brian will be back on the play. Actually, no, I take that back. Scott will be on the play here. We were talking a little bit ago, since we got in the middle of minute while they're shuffling, about some of the decks that we haven't seen. We're seeing and not seeing. We talked 12 post, made it to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
When you got to watch 12 post in action, what was it about 12 post that makes it so, in your mind, so effective?
Honestly, in the games we watched, the opponent just stumbled repeatedly.
Really?
The games ended up lasting a while.
Okay.
Every once in a while, it would win a game. Like it won game 2 of the finals against it. Rug Delver, played by Elliot Wolczewski, won the tournament. But basically against a deck with Wastelands, Elliot did not draw lands. The 12 post player drew 3. He went like Cloud Post, Vesuva. He just had a very accelerant. He probably had like 9 mana on turn 4 or something like that.
Oh wow!
So he had just a very good draw. But most of the games, it kind of just like if he didn't draw a Cloud Post, he didn't have something to copy. The Glimmer Posts aren't that impressive. The Vesuva copied Islands a couple times.
Islands?
Yeah, he just hadn't needed mana, but like the opponent kind of just stumbled, kind of nothing went on, and eventually Eldrazi were cast.
Yeah, hard casting Eldrazi. That's a good thing. Again, when they were first made, you can imagine 15 mana. How in the world are you ever going to cast that card?
You find a way.
Yeah. All right. I believe Brian's offering him to cut here. Scott looks like he's going through a sideboard again.
Yeah. This is actually running up really close to over a maximum sideboard time. That really needs to present, or either that or the judge needs to step in and be like, yeah, you need to present.
Yeah, you can see where you can see slightly in Brian's expression there. It's like, okay, come on, let's go. I mean, the crack of the knuckles, the slight sigh, all little signs of, hey, you know what? Come on, let's get the game going here.
Right. It's not like they have a million years to play it either.
No.
They have 13 minutes left, and yeah, like this. I'm not a fan of pile shuffling. It's a 2-minute riffle shuffle. Instead of a 2-second riffle shuffle.
How much in this case? Now we know Brian's a very good player, but let's say it's not Brian. Let's say it's somebody who decided to come out this weekend that's good at F&M, and this happens to him, and now all suddenly is the possibility that he could go on tilt just because of the fact he's seeing him do this so long and taking so much time. I'm not talking Brian. I'm talking if this was your regular effort number that came out to a Star Cities event thinking, hey, you know what? I'm pretty good at this. I can give this a crack. Let's see what happens.
I mean, people go on tilt for any reason.
Yeah.
You don't need a reason to go on tilt.
Yeah, I've
That's why it's
seen.
called tilt.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty epic tilts. People knocking things over and kicking walls, and Magic's a funny game. Okay, looks like he's gonna keep, and we're off.
Alright, so Verdant Catacombs for Scott. Misty Rainforest for Brian.
Okay, he's got main phase Brainstorm, Ponder, Brainstorm, and a land.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
That's an impressive Brainstorm when you're putting back 2 Ponders. And Scott's hand is very good, to be fair.
All right. Brian draws. Looks like I think I might have saw a Wasteland there. Another Misty Rainforest. He will crack the first one.
I'd like to see a Stifle here. Surprised. Isn't that what Stifle's for?
Okay, he'll crack his Verdant Catacomb.
So now this one's going to use Stifle. Okay. So let him have the first one, but not the second one.
Just because maybe he thought he'd feel confident enough that if he let the first one go, I don't know. I guess. There it is. Okay. Scott.
So I could actually see Brian, knowing that there is, approximately 15 minutes on the clock, might not have a time for a full Life of the Loam drag him out game. Might have brought in his Tarmogoyfs and Vanilla clicks.
That would be an interesting switch. Okay, now Wasteland. Take him down to no lands. Okay, there's Tarmogoyf, and I believe that's 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
It's just 2.
2?
Instant sorcery. Or instant land.
Land, yeah. Polluted Delta.
Oh, this is a fantastic draw from Scott. He's going to Thoughtseize, and he also has a Stifle left over from. So, let's see. Yep, you do see both Life of the Loams from Brian, and you also see the Tarmogoyf, and also Damnation.
And Liliana. So we have Liliana, Damnation, Life of the Loam, Tarmogoyf, another Life from the Loam, Abrupt Decay, and a Wasteland.
I think you take either likely Tarmogoyf unless you if Scott has a way to kill the Tarmogoyf, you can go ahead and take something like Abrupt Decay.
Okay, so he still kept the Life of the Loams in, and he brought in Tarmogoyfs. So he's kind of playing a hybrid mix of the deck.
The Thoughtseize pumps Tarmogoyf to a 3/4, and
Brian goes down to 15 then. Land. Looks like he has Snapcaster, Stifle, and Brainstorm in his hand.
Excellent hand for Scott.
Absolutely.
Especially as Brian isn't going to be able to get mana out of that Polluted Delta. Nope, that's just
shows it to him.
Yep.
And all he's got is a Wasteland. Oh.
Brian's he did not draw a land off the top of his deck because he did not have one when Scott brainstormed.
Oh, and another Wasteland. Wow.
I actually don't think he's going to use it.
Would you? I wouldn't have played the Wasteland. I think I would have held that back to see if.
Well, it's gonna have a little different lines. Basically, Scott wanted to just get the land out of the hand.
Okay. So Liliana goes to the wayside. Not the engineered explosives. All right. Now it's a 4/5.
Planeswalker in the graveyard.
Yes.
Yeah, I would have held Snapcaster Stifle,
Okay.
but
Swing for 6.
not looking too aggressive. Yeah, we should see Ponder. When you don't have a way to shuffle, you definitely want to cast a Ponder or Preordain before you cast a Brainstorm.
Okay.
So Scott making the right choice on his cantrip selection. Now Brian had a very precarious 3 life, and only 1 permanent to show for it, and that is a Bayou. Yeah, Ghastly Demise here. So I do see a Stifle from Scott.
All right.
Uh-oh.
Timberglaive.
Yeah, Scott could be in a small amount of trouble, not a huge amount of trouble, but definitely would probably want to see a
All right, Misty Rainforest, a cracks.
well, that's a tough tough decision for Scott there. Here's a Brainstorm, but he already knows one of the top cards of his deck that he does not want to draw.
Yeah, getting a Bayou there. Okay, Brainstorm.
Well, Brainstorm means he's not going to be able to shuffle off this one. Looks like we're going to see Wasteland and Deathrite Shaman from Scott, which is probably the likely place.
Okay, so he's going to put a Wasteland and...
He's going to keep a Wasteland.
Oh, keep a Wasteland, sorry.
Yeah, keep a Wasteland, keep a Deathrite Shaman. Wasteland the Bayou. Attack with both.
That'll take him to 1. And
that has to make the turn where it bounce.
Deathrite Shaman.
And looks like,
Hey.
yeah.
Congratulations to Scott Ruggiero, winning 2 games to 1 with Bug Delver over Braun Duin's spin on Bug Control.